perspective. And you have lastly covered one very critical point, adoption of technology, like how Philippines is adopting BT technology and growing in the corn market. So now I'm handing over to a very important person who is well known as a voice of the farmers to the regulators or the policymakers. When there is a challenge farmers are facing, he is the person to address it and bring the solutions. So before going to the question, I'll just want to relate a story. Yesterday we had a farmer panel, and in that farmer panel, one farmer who was joining from Philippines online, and she is known as BT Corn Queen. And she was so proud to explain her journey, how BT corn has changed her life. This is one example. So there are a lot of high cutting-edge technology which are available globally. But if you look into the Indian ecosystem, the adoption of technology is not as fast as others are adopting or it is happening across. So how do you see this and how the situation can be improved? You can share your personal perspective as well as the advocacy what you are driving. Over to you, Dr. Bhagesh.
So thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you. You know, at the beginning, I really like the purpose statement of Bayer. You know, it's very important. Health for all, hunger for none. So it is so enormous that, you know, it captures everything that relates to humanity. And it addresses two very fundamental needs of the humans, health and the food. I think that's something really touches deep to my heart, which I would like to share with you at the beginning of this conversation. And the point that Partha, while initiating this discussion, asked these questions to all of us. What is climate smart? So that's in our purpose statement. That anything between climate and hunger for none. So it can be technology, it can be products, it can be innovation, digital, anything that you can even think of. So climate smart is basically bridge between climate and hunger for none. That's very, very important. I know many of you, I have, you know, at one or the other occasion, worked with you. Ravi is there, Rajveer, Yadavji, my friend Gulsanji, Anik, and many of you actually. We came across, you know, fundamentally in one or another programs that we have been associated. And all of us actually understand the concept, the landscape between climate and hunger for none. But we're all struggling to get that to those who really produce food for us. So before I, you know, really share my perspective, 5-6 minutes, Partha, and I'm going to take a little more time, okay?
It's okay.
I want all of us to really applause all of us actually, because I see so many people from different part of Bayer, you know, getting together here, ensuring that the very fundamental, the peace between the climate and hunger for none is being achieved actually. You know, literally, if you really look at both technology and the policy landscape in the country, since independence, India has fundamentally gone through three important technological adaptation paradigm. The very important paradigm that we could see at very early stage of India's struggling with the food security, the hunger for none, was game-changing innovations which relates directly to increasing productivity of food that we produce for the country. So you talk about, at that point of time, 60s and 70s, use of RHT gene in wheat or, you know, ST gene in rice. At that point of time, we didn't know that those dwarfing gene basically is being driven by single gene phenomena. But India literally actually jumped onto those technologies, and we ensure that, you know, those technologies reaches to farmer who can produce food for the country, and we can reduce the dependence on imported food. The second very important, the game-changing technology that India has seen, and you all are aware about it, what relates to hybridization in cotton. Way back in 70s, people were very enthusiastic, farmers were very enthusiastic, scientific community. hybridization, cutting across pearl millets to cotton to a lot of vegetable crop. And in 80s, I think hybridization created this new era of providing nutritional food through millets and through vegetable. So those technologies were also very quickly adopted by the farming community. Along with hybridization, we've seen use of chemistry like pyrethrites that you guys introduced. I think it was in mid of 80s or early 90s, which transformed cotton cultivation and many other commodities that India produces. And lately, in that series of game-changing innovation, which could be easily adopted by the farming community, would be non-genetically modified rice technology that we are talking about. The Orabanki resistant or, the weed management mustard that is coming into the market, again, non-genetic genetic pathways, or maybe genome editing technologies that, Meenakshi has just now spoken about. So these game-changing technology, the first category that Indian farmer are very quick to adopt. And these technologies reaches to farmer because there is a very strong policy support, the government support, the political will from the government to get access to these technology to farming community. So that's the first very fundamental technological shift that help India to achieve what we have been able to achieve at this point of time in the country. The second very important fundamental technological change that we have seen is those technologies that can incrementally help farmers produce more food or feed or fiber crops. And importantly here, I talk about hybrid rice. Even though it's a very old technology, we are still struggling with, of 44 million hectares, we are close to 4 million hectares. So there's something is there that we don't know, or something where farmer is very cautious to adopt this technology. And we have high density planting system would fall exactly in the same group of technologies that farmer are really little reluctant or hesitant, or maybe he sees value incremental, not very breakthrough value that can be given by those technology. The third, which is very close to heart of all of us, are called genetically modified technology. We know that genetic modification is fundamentally, they have very high potential, but those technologies are very controversial. We know that they can create enormous value. We have huge experience with BT cotton technology, which enabled India to achieve something that we never thought in our life that we would be able to do it. So with single gene, double gene technology way back in 2006, you all know that India was able to achieve almost 39 million bales of cotton from 13 million. So this surge of having almost the factor of 3 increase in production enabled country to achieve major breakthrough in textile industry. But lately with respect to genetic modification, we got stuck. We are unable to move forward. And I would like to draw 3 important policy paradigms here with respect to these 3 categories of technology that I've just now cited. The first policy paradigm that we've seen in the country was between 1995 to 2005, when there was progressive policies. And I say progressive policies because India was first country in the world to have a regulatory system on genetically modified crop being put in place way back in 1989. And by 2002, we know how political will, supported by the progressive policies, enabled India to achieve breakthrough in approval of insect-resistant BT technology. Those were very important support. So with respect to technology adoption, we can have technologies in ourselves, but they will not reach until there is a progressive policy and there is a government support and political will. I would like to re-emphasize, nothing will work. Whatever we do, this genome editing might remain self if we don't have a political will to get the technology to farming community. And today, India is really suffering from this concept of political will. So that 95 to 2005, we've seen a very important dynamics where government official wanted to facilitate approval of technology. I worked with them very closely along with Rajveer and others. So you go and meet with the chairman of the GAC and he would welcome you to meet. Today, we struggle to get the appointment. It's very, very tough. So I think, those 95 to 2005 era of progressive policy and political will were very crucial for the country. But over the period of time, irrespective of the government that is in power at the central India, we have seen this whole concept of precautionary-based principle creeping into the whole dynamics ecosystem of getting technology approval. So precautionary principle concept came, if you recall, between 2005, between 2015. So that period of 10 years, there was so much about precautionary principle. You must have seen TV with lots of discussion about approval of BT brinjal or not approval of BT brinjal. So, and the concept of precautionary principle was engraved in the mind of the society, that there's something fishy about this technology and we should be cautious. And that's where, it created this whole political uncertainty. So I said first, progressive policy, political will. The second phase is related to precautionary principle and political uncertainty. And in this political uncertainty, we have seen moratorium on BT brinjal. So government would say that, oh, fundamental technology, fantastic, it'll do something miracle, but we must be cautious. And so that technology doesn't go anywhere. Probably it will travel to Philippines and Bangladesh, but not in India. Okay, so that's where we have political uncertainty becoming a very important area. We have also seen steps taken by the central government under this political uncertainty, which led to changing the name or the mandate of Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. That's where, we thought that scientists is going to decide the fate of technology, approval committee, but that being changed to appraisal. So as a scientist or as a bureaucrat, you can do only appraisal. You are not allowed to approve the technology. And that's where comes the whole political uncertainty in the between. And between 2005 and 15, you have seen that government asking us to get no objection certificate to even do trial in some of the states in the country. So you have a federal government where environment as a law which regulate biotechnology, genetic modification, would fall in Ministry of Environment, the concurrent list of the Constitution of India, where central government would have full control over the approval of any of these technology, and the state has to follow that approval. But in this case of biotechnology, because of this no objection certificate concept was involved, so now even with the approval from central government, Rajveer will go to GAC and get the approval, but then he has to go to all the states to get the NOC before he can put the trial in the practice. So what's happening is that we are unable to move even an inch beyond what we achieved in 2006. The third and the last, the policy phenomena that we have gone through in last 10 years, 2015 to 2025, it is completely prohibitory policy. So now we know about organic farming. Now we know more about regenerative farming. Now we know about conventional farming, zero budget farming. Lately, we are very much obsessed with natural farming. No one of us know what is these farming techniques are. But there is something fundamentally very prohibitory. So anything on genetic modification is like chip. No one speak about it. So that's where we got stuck. And I think there is an anti-technology narrative is dominating the mind of policymaker in the country. And that's where the country has stuck between 2015 and 2025. There are many examples. Our people in Krishi Bhavan, sir, with all the respects, came out with the idea that cotton seed price of the cotton hybrid that we sell in 2015 will be decided by the people in the Krishi Bhavan, but not those who are making investment into genetics, breeding, trait integration, and getting the product approved to the farming community. So what happened is that with the cotton seed price control order that came in 2015, the investment into increasing the resilience of genetics of cotton completely stopped. People pulled out projects, traits, and then in 2016 there was a unique, and why I call it prohibitory, 2016 there was a very unique draft notification called compulsory licensing. So whoever you are, you must have put $2 billion in your research, but if you bring technology to India, we can decide who should get access in the country under the compulsory licensing mechanism. We had so many court litigations on intellectual property. So that all happened between 2015 2015 and 2025. And if you really draw a parallel between technology, which farmers need at any cost, and the policy paradigm where we have no idea where do we go at this point of time. We've seen some good sign of getting some of the technology out to farming community when I know it took us so much time to even convince Bayer to get the dossier of Volga 2 back to the GAC in 2021. We were promised that it would be fast-tracked, but between 2021 and 2026, only change that I've seen that our cotton fields are now flooded with illegal, unauthorized HTBT cotton technology. And we are remaining where we are on technology front. I will just take last one more minute.
Yeah, sure.
I think with the technology and policy paradigm, the big change that is happening, where we must all be very concerned with respect to hunger for none, is that because of climate change, there are things that are changing in a way that even farmer and us don't understand. We never thought that something like Parvis spinus thrips, black thrip, would ever come to India and infest Chile, where a farmer would be in a very big difficulties. And even since 2021 till now, unfortunately, we are suffering, our farmers are suffering, number of pesticide sprays has gone up like anything, and no technological breakthrough is being advanced to tackle that problem of Parvis spinus. The second very important element that my friend SL and colleague from Philippines should have raised is that we are very happy with 55 million tons of corn that we produce, which was of course a very big problem. But we also know that this corn production is going through a very different phases where crop protection is becoming very important part to produce the 3, 4, 5 ton of corn that we can produce. So Fujiperda, Spodoptera fujiperda is a headache for the farming community, big problem. We are suffering similar pest infestation in cotton. Farmers are almost abandoning something which was very critical to the fiber security of the country over the period of time, and we have not been able to get the technology to the farming community. So collectively, I think you, us, government, and the society at large, I think we had to really elevate our discussion, conversation about bringing back political will. Very, very critical. You bring any technology which would do anything, but if there is no political will, we can't get the technology to the country. So political will and progressive policies are absolutely critical if India has to continue to remain food secure country in the years to come. And food security, given the geopolitical changes are happening, or the trade dynamics which are changing over the period of time, I think it is paramount that country of India with 1.45 billion people, food security should be much bigger in our priority than even the national security, because food security itself become the national security. The last line, all of us know that whatever you're doing on your health, I've seen some machines here, prior to this panel discussion. Remember, food is the first medicine. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Baruah, to bringing the real challenges, and we all hope that tomorrow will be brighter and shiner to breaking these barriers. And we